My name is John. I had been a huge fan of this one reality TV show, Billy the Exterminator, since it first aired, and even into to my adulthood, I would still watch the show every day, every now and then. I even loved the 30-minute episode that showed and focused often on the bizarre and seemingly impossible to track down adventures of Billy Burfington, an amateur exterminator on rural Louisiana. However, I used to watch that show back in 2010 and 2011 year. I really enjoyed it. It was such a great episode that they have. Basically, Billy the Exterminator would have Billy go tackle stuff such as large snakes, infestations of insects, rodents, etc. I really enjoyed the show, and however, for though, this was something odd that I really have to say. Now, this was just one episode that I found it really bizarre, but it also kind of didn't really make too much sense. Well, since my name is John in this story, I was pretty much just cleaning up my parents' bedroom in the attic because I was going to be moving now to college to be closer to my girlfriend. However, I was looking at through one of the boxes to think of what to take, and as I was going through it, I found an old VHS recording. It was one of those old VHS tapes that you could record stuff on it. As soon as I saw it, I ended up asking my mom, and she said that she used to record Billy the Exterminator shows at times when we couldn't watch them. Either that I was in school or was busy or just didn't have time to watch TV since I was into video games. She said I could have it, and I did. I ended up going through the VCR, and of course, first after rewinding, I recognized a familiar opening introduction and saw the name episode, the lost episode. I was confused, but at the same time, it most likely was a episode of Billy the Exterminator that was never aired on television. However, I tried to look it up, but there was no trace of anything related to this episode. What followed was unlike anything I have ever seen on Billy the Exterminator. What I saw was pretty bizarre. It started with Billy pulling up into a gigantic insect nest on the property outside of the house. It looked as if it was a yellow jacket hornet house or something like that. He seemed confused and unsure how to tackle such a large job, so he goes it without any problems, as he has done it before. But however, this episode, instead of a yellow jacket nest as I was expected, it was a different insect nest. I had no idea what it was. I did research if any of what other nests look like for insects, but nothing came up of what was stated. But after subduing some of the nest's occupants, he had an idea as he reached down into his toolbox and pulled out his old silver whistle. As soon as he began to blow on it, the nest literally began to evacuate itself, seemingly to be controlled by the mysterious instrument. At the time, I thought it was one of the most bizarre things that I have ever seen on television, and he was left with a lot of questions. But, of course, I was assumed that the episode had never aired, and the ironic twist, it took me years to come to understand what happened in the episode. Honestly, I didn't question my mom about this, because honestly she would think that I was just making it up or thinking I was crazy. However, I still have this tape, although I really don't really seem to care. I didn't want to go to the cops because honestly they wouldn't find anything much about this episode. It turns out that the silver whistle was laced with an ultrasonic frequency to track pests, and that can be used to drive away unwanted insects. Billy had discovered it and put it to use in an effort to get rid of the property of these pesky infestation of insects. Though it seemed to look like a range twist ending to the time, but it made sense to where I finally figured it out years later. Although I'm still confused and unsure as to why this episode was never included on any DVD set or whatever. But at the same time, though, this episode is still in my mind, and I wonder, has anyone else seen this episode of Billy the Exterminator? If you have, please let me know, because I really would like to use any screenshots if you ever managed to capture any or shared your experience with this episode.